Welcome to the Francois Podcast. Welcome.
Peace and love, beautiful black people. The Francois Podcast has returned for episode 6 of season 2. How y'all doing out there today?
How you doing? If you don't know who we are, my name is Clichelle.
Well, if they don't know who you are, then they ain't been listening.
What is your name,
I'm
sir?
Sebastian. How are you? How y'all doing?
Thank
That's a
you
fact,
for
though.
joining us and listening in. For all our returning listeners, we welcome you back and thanks for hanging on with us. If you have been listening, you know that we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on YouTube, we're everywhere. So thank you for tuning in. And
Anchor, Audio Mac.
all of that. Go ahead. Say what you're
No, that's
gonna
it.
say.
That's it. That's all we got. That's enough to cover all the bases for everybody to listen.
Thank you for tuning in. We have a special episode for you tonight. We always have a special episode.
But this one's a little extra special.
Little extra special. We have a twofer. So we'd had couples night last time, and
Yep.
then we're gonna have couples night tonight again.
Yes, we're back with another couples night. And we got actually one of our favorite couples, some great friends of ours,
Yeah.
great people. And we'll have them introduce themselves, so y'all can take the floor.
Hey, how's it going? My name's Kirk. I'm a financial professional, and I'm in business with my best friend. And she's going to introduce herself.
Hey,
Hey everyone, I'm Shanti, and yes, we're in the business of helping people build financial wealth. So we're so excited to be here tonight. Thanks for having us, guys.
Oh, I know.
Hey,
We're
look.
excited to have you. This
we
is
love
gonna be
having y'all
fun.
here, man. Thank y'all so much for just accepting the offer and tuning in. Y'all are some of the smartest people we know. I've seen y'all in action many times. I've heard y'all talk that good word, I like to call it,
We've
that
had
good
some
money
insightful
talk.
conversations.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Heard a lot of insightful things from y'all. Learned a lot from you guys. So we figured that our listeners would definitely benefit from from the knowledge that y'all would have to share.
Cool. We're excited. I've been listening for a while, and
Appreciate
always
that, my
hope
brother.
that we would have an episode. And it's
Speaking
finally
into
happened.
existence,
Right?
right?
Yeah, you know, for y'all
Take
to,
full advantage.
for those that don't know, I've been knowing Kirk for about how many years we got
It's
now?
almost 20 years, man.
That's crazy.
Lord.
I
How
think
old
I
are you
was.
again?
Let's see, I'm 30. I'm gonna be 31 this year. I met him when I was 13 or 14.
Wow.
And high school buddies, man. Just like Mal, like I had on the previous episode. But yeah, good friend of mine for many years. You know, we reconnected about 7 years ago, 8 years ago. I feel like.
Wow.
And then been tight ever since. It was at my wedding, at my brother's wedding, and we met his beautiful girlfriend, and we all tight now.
Fiancé,
Oh
okay.
my God, hold up. Hold up. First off, I didn't get it wrong. Girlfriend at the time.
Okay.
Fiance now.
Okay.
I saw the ring when I walked in.
Okay. I'm just saying, you want to make sure that's correct.
Oh no, yeah, it's funny. But no, it's crazy though. The minute you propose, it's almost disrespectful to say girl.
Absolutely.
Or
I mean, we got
It's
skin
like-
in the game at this point.
your skin is still there.
No, but I'm
There's
just
a lot of
saying.
skin involved.
There's a lot that goes into it, so you better make sure the titles is correct.
The title is fiance.
Thank you.
My apologies.
For now. Right?
Soon to be white.
Soon to be wife and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's coming along well.
It's coming, man. It's coming. But so we have them on here because we want to have a dope, intellectual, insightful conversation about money, but also about how it plays a factor in relationships, marriage, and all that good stuff, and just smart things you could do with it just to properly prepare for your future. But
What's up, babe?
thank you. I've been practicing. But yo, before we get into that, we would like y'all to share y'all story. So first, how did y'all meet? And how long have y'all been together? And how did y'all meet? Give us the Kurt Ashanti story, man.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to take this?
So we actually met in my apartment.
Oh, say word?
It sounds so crazy.
Yeah, it's very convenient. The commute wasn't bad. Kirk was helping my friend move in at the time, and it kind of went from there. And that was about 8+ plus years ago.
Yeah.
And then over time, it just, became a little something more. And
Real fast. It wasn't like a long time.
How fast was it?
All right. So when did Shorty move in? What John back then? Was that like October?
yeah,
No,
that was like right
November.
after Sandy Hook.
'Cause I invited you to my birthday.
Timestamp.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Like after Hurricane Sandy, right?
yeah,
Y'all
I
remember
said
that?
Sandy Hook.
You
Yeah,
said Sandy Hook.
Hurricane.
Yeah, so this was like right after Hurricane Sandy. I know because my birthday was in November, and I was hoping that everything would clear up so I could have my party.
Yeah.
I think it was my 23rd. And I was helping a friend move in, and I walked into the apartment, and I saw Shanti like right in the door, and I was like, you know, like in a movie when you see the girl and it's glowing, and I was like, and we both stopped. I'm holding stuff, and I just stopped, and she sees me, and I see her, and I'm like, hey, and it's like this little awkward moment, but it was dope. I think like in that moment
What caused the stop?
she was beautiful, man.
Hey.
I saw her, I was
It
like,
was
oh, hey.
definitely a first attraction.
You
Like,
felt the same.
absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
I'm a fly man.
This was Red Monkey Kirk. Or this was.
We keep those days in the darkest closets. No, but So after that, I think like I invited her to my birthday party. That's
At the same time.
At that day,
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh, word.
because I solidified like the date and all that stuff, and I was like, hey, want to come to my party? It's XYZ, and she said yeah, and I was like, cool. And ever since
here
then-
we are.
And here we are.
How long have you been together?
November 3rd, 2013 was when I asked her to be my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so.
Well, really, what happened was he said his girlfriend
I just told people she was my
XYZ,
girlfriend.
and I was like,
Dope.
"Oh, who's your girlfriend?"
And I just looked at her like,
I was like, "You didn't ask me." So
You
that
gotta
was the
assume.
official.
see, you gotta
Assumptive
assume
clothes, that
a
was
professional thing I learned a long time ago. Assume the clothes. Assume the
I
clothes.
like that
I
talk, my
have
brother.
questions. Hold on. So when was the birthday party?
It was, so this was like in 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? So it was like November 2012.
Okay. In 2013, a year later, she was already girlfriend.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Well, that makes a little bit of sense. That he assumed the clothes. It's just like, well, I mean,
I
we've been
mean,
kicking
some
it
things
for
you
a
gotta
year.
speak into existence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, how
I
did you
still
react
need-
to that?
I still need an official invitation.
I think I
you know?
actually agree with you.
I'm a little bit formal.
Yeah.
Like, let me know
Yeah.
what's going on. I need to know.
Where we at?
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with you.
Exactly.
I actually didn't let him finish his statement. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll be your girlfriend. It was just like, I just needed him to
Right?
ask.
You did that?
And then it was just like, you was taking
Oh no, wait, but
forever.
you have to. You know
He's
why?
He's
you
like
know
this
why.
words guy, which I love. But I mean, get to the point. Like, to be your girlfriend.
You gotta tell the whole
All right,
story.
go ahead.
I mean,
well,
not
you
the whole
tell
not the whole story,
just
but like,
say from the
but
point
you know
asked.
why I was a little
He
resistant.
was hesitant.
But
yeah.
that was because of the conversation we had the night prior.
But
Remember?
I'm like, well, why don't you just ask? It was kind of
well,
like the
I
open
kind
door.
of asked the night prior. You was kind of on your nah vibe the night prior, and I was like, all right. And then we chilled. Then we went out.
Not what happened.
We went to this comedy show in New York. We was like, all right, so we went on a date in New York. It was a double date with her best friend at the time and some guy she was dating. We went out, had a good time, but I was like, all right, I'm gonna stop pushing on the boyfriend thing, because I was trying for like at least 3 months at that point, I think.
No.
I was.
You didn't ask me about the
No, I didn't ask, but our point is I was putting that work in.
Again.
Perspective
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
perspective.
It is.
Right?
One thing I've learned
It is.
what we think is happening is completely different.
Completely
from what
different.
Someone else sees is happening.
That is 100% true. That is a whole fact.
Okay.
But what I mean is, what I was putting in the work, like us getting to know each other, all that good stuff. But then, like, up until then,
We
I was
call
kinda-
that the boyfriend work.
yeah, the work,
He was proving the
proving
model,
myself worthy,
right?
proving myself worthy of having you on my arm forever. But what's the name? The night before, you was like, yeah, I'm not really with this, I'm not really, I don't know. Yeah, for
I
real.
believe that to be true.
No, it is. Yo,
Let's
that
hear-
conversation was like
I
at 1 in the
think-
morning. You know how we used to do. And I was like,
I
you know
think
what?
the question
Cool.
was, do you see yourself with me or something like
Yeah,
that?
something like that.
I don't remember if I said nah. I was
You said like, yo, I'm not really with that, like, not now, like, I'm not really with the da-da-da. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll back off, like,
Okay.
all that stuff. And then the next day, we went to New York, went to the comedy show, and I was talking to her friend, and she was like, man, you should just ask her tonight. Like, just go for it. I know her. Just ask her. And I was like, yo, she seemed pretty serious yesterday. Now, you wasn't there. you wasn't there for that conversation. She was like, man, let's ask her. So I went to you and I was like, hey, so guess what your friend told me? She on some like on some, what I said, like, I was like, man, we had the conversation. I'm trying to be respectful, da-da-da. But then after everything was over, we left New York, got back to Newark, you was like, so, we was like, yeah, you said, so you gonna ask me? And I was like, what, to be your girl? Like, and I was like, what, you wanna be my girlfriend? She said, yeah. That's kind of how it went, right? But I was like, yes, it's kind of how it went. It's kind of how it went. But I was shocked. I'm like, yo, what happened in a day? What happened in 24 hours? Like, because just the night before, you wasn't really with it.
I don't
like,
think I said no the night before. I don't remember what
you
I
said.
said.
You wasn't on that type of time. You wasn't on that type of time.
I think I was just like
Keeping you on your heels.
I needed Kirk at that
I
time.
think I remember just wanting you to just do it and not prepping me or giving me
Oh,
like
so you just
a
wanted
hint.
the straightforward. So you would have said yes the night before if I just said
don't
if I was
know,
straightforward.
But I wanted you to ask me and you
I
was
learned
taking
my
too
lesson.
long. That was my whole point.
I learned my
You see
lesson.
how long it took you to get to this part?
I had to give
For
the
you to
story.
ask me to be your girlfriend.
I had to give
So,
the story.
yeah.
But I learned my lesson to be direct in what you want.
Absolutely.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
That was you taught me a valuable lesson at
I
20.
think Kirk did good. Now that I've heard our story, it was just like, this is my girlfriend. Period.
Respect.
It's good.
I respect it.
Beautiful
I
thing.
feel
I
like
respect it.
I did the right thing all these years.
You did. It all works out in the end, right?
Right, yeah,
We're here.
Yeah, we're here.
We here. One of the
Well,
best
that's a beautiful story.
decisions ever made.
No, yeah, right. I didn't have to go prospecting for a girl. You know,
Yeah.
Didn't have to go out to the club. And,
Oh,
I feel
my
like
God.
that's the stuff that Kirk says coming from an all boys school. Like,
yeah,
you know,
Oh, that's true.
that's
Yeah.
true. We went to all boys school, so
But like we had to. So you have to try to like.
you have to really
you
Make
have to
an
go
effort.
look.
Like-
make an effort to go
Yeah.
find someone
People was
to
talking
be
about.
with, because
People's like, yo-
unless you enjoyed being, obviously
So are you saying that it was an easy journey for you?
easy in what sense?
No, you said that you didn't have to go prospecting. You didn't
well, I
have
think
to
in
kind
how,
of learn.
No,
how we
well-
met, you
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
plan it.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
very serendipitous, right? It was,
Right.
it kind of worked out.
Facts.
I wish I
have to,
was
like-
dressed maybe a little less like
yeah, I was
moving.
I was also in sweatpants.
You know what?
But
that's-
you look
you
good in
know-
sweatpants. Like it was a look. Can't leave the house in that outfit. Can't leave the house.
Am I blushing? Nah, but no, yeah. No, that's one of the things I say. Oh man, I didn't have to really go out and look for somebody. I just was happenstance.
Yeah. Same
And there's a
here.
whole theory behind that, but yeah, that's for another day.
All right.
That's beautiful.
Oh man, I like hearing
Well,
people.
thanks for
I like to be hearing. I feel like I don't know like the guys that I know that in long-term relationships. I don't be knowing their stories like that.
Yeah.
I just feel like when I was talking to Mal and Yuli last week, like I never knew their story and how they met. Like their story was pretty dope. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to know like what's up? Like, how did y'all get here? Like this long-term relationship thing ain't easy, and it's like I want to know. I want to know. Be knowing
I
the
have more
stories.
questions, but I know this is geared towards finance.
Oh no, please ask.
I'm
You
just
can do what you
curious.
want.
So how was the first date? So you mentioned that you weren't really dressed.
I'm happy you asked. There's a reason why it was a year from when I met her to why we
Okay.
to become. So it's actually hilarious.
I thought we were gonna glaze over that.
Okay, I'm glad I asked.
So the first date, man, it's funny. We had talk about perspective. We had two completely different perspectives of the first date. I thought it went amazing. I thought I put in all the work, pull all the stops. I thought I did I gave myself an A+.
Wow.
Yeah, because all right, so my best friend is also a mutual friend of Shanti's.
Right.
Okay.
So we were talking to him when we weren't talking to each other. And he was kind of like playing like middle fielder. Like he was like kind of helping us both out.
Okay.
And it's funny, after the day, I told him like, yeah, man, it was awesome. And then I guess Shanti was like, yeah, I don't know if he likes me.
Hey,
And it's funny, he's just like, what the hell is going on?
Two different perspectives.
Yeah, two complete different
Wow.
perspectives. And it's funny because we're in the same circle, so we still saw each other like throughout the year and stuff like that. And eventually got to hang it out again. And it just
And then it happened quickly.
And then it happened quickly once we started spending more time.
Yeah, that was
together.
probably from August to November of 2013 that things really
Ramped up real
escalated.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
what was it about Kirk on the first date that made you think that he wasn't into you?
Well, what
Yeah.
happened was, right, we had a great first half of our date.
It was twofold. I thought our plan was great. Obviously, I sabotaged
The
it.
first half,
Okay.
we got Japanese food. We got sushi. Kirk tried sushi. You know, I think that was the first time that
Yeah.
he liked it. At least it
I
was
tried
good.
to impress her because she said it was her favorite food.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Oh my
let's
God.
do Japanese.
Love
All
sushi.
right.
But that was perfect. But towards the end of that part, the boys started calling and he was on the phone and we ended up going to Hoboken, right? And hanging out in a group setting where it was more, you know, Kirk is a friendly person.
Right.
He got friends, right?
Like so if you know me, I got friends out there.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a great idea for us to have like our time together and then party.
But I didn't know this
Right.
I
was.
thought we were gonna just party afterwards, so I just thought, hey, let's go. And we knew we kind of know people in the same
Yeah.
circle, so I thought it would have been okay.
And I felt like, luckily, I knew people in the same circle because I was still new to the circle at that time, right? But luckily, there were a couple people there that I felt comfortable with, and we had a good time. And then at the end of the night, we looked at each other a little bit, and you know, we're both not like forward people, so it was just like,
She wanted me to kiss her, and I did.
You wanted
Yes,
this. Oh my
yes.
gosh, you really liked him.
I did, and I was like, well, maybe the feeling's not mutual. I didn't know.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, because I can be very shy, so I need someone to be like, listen,
Push you, yeah.
this
Gotcha,
is what it
gotcha.
is, you know.
Yeah, and I thought I was being respectful.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I could get that a lot. I
Yeah.
understand from a man's point of view or a man's perspective, especially if they really like you, they do not want to, you know, pass
Yeah, she
certain
says
lines
that's-
and boundaries and
It's
everything.
nice. We stared at each other for a nice amount of time, you know.
You know what? That's true.
But
That's funny. No, yeah, and
I
it's funny.
feel
It was like after a while, I think I like was talking to a friend, and my friend was like, "You better kiss that girl," and I was like, "Oh, all right, oh, I should." Sure. And I kissed her, and then
The rest of
ta-da.
and there, and then it was, you know, no,
Yeah.
right? I need again the
yeah.
formality. Like,
Yeah.
let me know.
So kiss that girl
I mean,
with her permission.
With her
consent is
permission.
important.
Consent is important.
Consent
This
is
is what
key.
I would say as a tip in this particular topic. If you inch in men, if you inch in a little closer and you feel like her vibe is kind of connecting with you and she's inching in, then I think it's okay. I mean, like, body movement says a lot versus if you say, I would like to kiss you, then you just throw the whole vibe off, in my opinion, It's kind of like, I just feel like we should kiss right now. Like, just do it. Like, it just
I
throws
thought
it
I
all
was
off.
giving the signs. You know that meme where it's like, you know, when you're shy, like you think you're flirting, you're just staring at the person. That's probably what
that
I
what
was
you
doing,
thought?
but I thought I was clear,
He was
but
giving
maybe
the signs,
not.
yeah, no.
And I think it's different because we know the same people, so it's more comfortable. It's not like Kirk's like, who's this person I'm just meeting, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, it's a little bit warmer than most people who meet, so. But, again, it worked out.
Yeah, it worked out. So it
And
don't
then
matter.
when we
Word.
rekindled, we were just attached at the hip like all the time. Like Kirk's the person in the world that I'm like most comfortable with, you know. So it it blossomed from there.
Yeah. That's dope. Well, one thing I always say, I feel like out of every couple I know, I don't think I know any people that's perfect for each other than y'all. Y'all energy together is
Agreed.
just top. It's like just top notch. Like I really feel like y'all are best friends. Like
I appreciate that. We tell each other we best friends every day.
Yep.
that's dope.
Facts.
Your energy is unmatched. Like when y'all around each
It's a
other.
beautiful thing.
And I feel like everybody who knows y'all knows that. Like
Thanks, guys.
you need
That's-
that.
That means a
Curtis
lot because we love y'all. We're like,
Yeah.
hey, thanks, so dope.
Hey man,
Can we be that dope?
Seriously.
We aspiring to be like other people. All right, so
Hey,
that's
man.
cool though. Thanks.
we gotta inspire each other out here, man.
That's
Absolutely.
That's what it is. Birds of a feather flock together. So
Yes.
I'm glad that we are connected.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Elevating together.
Yeah. Another dope thing that y'all do together is
We
the
make
fact,
money together.
fact that y'all work together. I think that's also pretty dope.
How
Like,
does that even make sense? Please, give me all the
Well,
skinny.
you know what? I think like for us, we've always thought like, if you're really gonna be around somebody for the rest of your life, if that's like your intention, you should be able to be around that person like, and no matter what the situation. And we felt like if we could work together and make money together, that's like the ultimate sign of, man, this thing could work. Because work, quote unquote, is one of the most stressful things that people do on a daily basis, right?
Right.
But if we can work and be happy together, then the chances of our relationship being successful are really, really high, right? So I think that we saw that ASAP, and the fact that we're in the same field, in the same industry, in the same office, right?
Yeah.
Learning together. We got in around the same time, right? Shanti started before me. But we're working in the same industry, and I think like we found success, and we were just working together, and we thought it was awesome. We thought we could build a partnership right from the beginning, and we knew it would just roll over into like our life together. Yeah, so
So you guys like working together.
absolutely.
And it's
so dope.
kind of similar to you guys. I mean, with your podcast, season 2, I mean, you don't get to season 2 without,
Work ethic.
Right.
yeah, the work
right.
ethic and enjoying it and the chemistry and everything. And I know you
Right.
guys have recorded together and,
Right. That's true.
like it's just, it might be a different medium, but it's,
It's the same.
parallel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
That's dope. I actually respect that. I think that's dope how y'all. I feel like there's a lot of couples that really can't, and it's like it's like I can be with you in leisure and fun, but work is like
Yeah.
that's like a hard no.
Yeah.
I think
that-
the pandemic tested that, right? A lot of people
Yeah,
were
it
together a
did.
lot more. And
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
Right.
if you don't like who you are with all the time, it does tell something about your relationship. It's
Facts.
kind of
I
like,
agree.
it's why would I not want to be around you
Yeah.
for a majority part of the day?
Yeah.
Exactly. I agree with
Right.
that.
So
I
it's
agree with
weird.
that wholeheartedly.
Facts.
Wholeheartedly. Facts.
So like the financial sector.
Yeah.
What was it about that career path that brought both of y'all in, and then I guess brought both of y'all into the point where y'all like, you know what, we can do this together and be successful. I'm sure one of y'all or both of y'all had to have like a vision towards what y'all see, what y'all thought this can be. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I'll say something for me that really helped was having mentors in the industry. So, like, obviously we haven't been working really anything for 20, 30 years, but to see what it could look like if someone stays the course.
right.
You know, like I've literally seen people be able to tell their clients, hey, you can retire earlier, right? When most people, you know, they're like, oh my God, I wish I had started earlier.
Right.
You know, so just seeing the impact that you can make in someone's life with simple steps. It's not crazy if you look at it piece by piece. It just became really rewarding, you know?
So just so that people understand exactly what you guys do on a daily, can you give us like a good elevator pitch of what your day-to-day looks like and how do you help people so that they could get a better understanding of what your work is like and what do you do?
Yeah. So in terms of a day-to-day, every day is different, which does help. And we work together sometimes and independently. So that maybe helps working together. But we basically just help people navigate their finances. So it could be protecting their income, right? Especially in our communities, right? We're not taught about getting proper life insurance. We're not taught about investing or even college savings for children, right? Like we know all of our friends have relatively young children, right? The difference that you can make in your child's life if you start early, right? It's paramount. And it's, you know, what if someone just sat down with our parents or our parents' parents, right? Just general, and told them a different way, because we're making up for lost time as, you know, people of color. Right. So we just teach people simple strategies to help. Maybe it's paying down debt. It could be, there's a slew of things. It depends on where someone's at in their life. If they're an older age bracket, it might be transitioning to retirement, making sure our money lasts as long as we do. Right. That's really important. And just looking at, based on where someone is, how to navigate that.
Right.
So yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
And
Shanti hit it. Like we're like fully licensed financial professionals, and we basically help people in every area of finances. You know, when it comes to that scenario. So whether it's saving, investing, like Shanti said, or stocks, right? Mutual funds. So we teach people how to navigate that. And like she said, we don't cater to necessarily people who already have the knowledge. We're in the business of educating people who don't have that background.
So is it the same as being a financial advisor?
We're licensed, so we can be financial advisors. We just don't use the term because when you hear in our communities, when you hear the term financial advisor, people say, "I don't got no money to invest." Right. So we kind of stay away from that terminology and just say we're financial educators. Right.
Right.
Because everybody want to learn about finances, and we're really passionate about educating our communities and making a change and an impact in our communities financially. Right. So we just kind of use different verbiage, but we are licensed and we're technically financial advisors.
Yeah, for a couple of episodes, we mentioned you as our financial advisor for a few times, just making sure Go ahead.
This was like around the time where we had, I think it was the same year I either proposed or the year after. I remember the first thing I was like, all right, okay, I just proposed. I gotta talk to Kurt.
Yeah.
I was like, I remember, and I was like, all right, so let's figure, because we was at that time crossing over that threshold of like, all right, now we have to think more as one, like a joint account and you know all of that stuff, and you know savings. Like for our wedding, we did like a double savings. Like we saved for our wedding, and then we saved separately just in case we didn't get anything at our wedding, and then you know just to have like a cushion, and then use that for you know furniture, apartments, all that stuff. And it showed that you know we really could do it. But I was like, yo, that year was it was definitely a hurdle to jump over, because I realized how different we are with money. Yeah. And, you know, and I was the kind of guy that would like, all right, you know, Shelly will create the plan. She's excellent at creating the plan. Like, this is what we're going to do. And I'm excellent at saying yes to the plan that day.
Never following the plan.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I put gas in the car. Hey, I borrowed $20 from my account. I'll put it back 2 months later. Hey, did you ever put that $20 back? Oh, yeah.
It wouldn't even be 2 months.
Stuff like that. I mean, like, I've grown. But, like, that year, we realized, like, all right, you know what? You a little bit more, like, you're very meticulous. You're very particular. Like, I see you know, like, if there's 45 cents missing, you'll notice. Like, stuff like that. Like, which I actually respect and appreciate.
Good. That's Shanti right there. Yeah. I feel like that's very important. I think that's very important. It's funny because we talk to many couples, and one of the questions we ask people is like, do you do your finances together? And we always see it as a red flag if couples don't do their finances together, because that's kind of like a train wreck waiting to happen, right? Because like we've been doing this for so long, you could kind of tell who's the spender and who's the saver, like right away. And if the finances aren't together, you're like, all right, that person's gonna screw everything up, right? You just kind of know, right?
Okay,
Right?
okay.
But we can't say that, right?
Yeah.
You can't say
Right.
that, but you know that's gonna happen, right?
Right.
So it's I do believe like couples, it's very important to do your finances together, because you both got to put eyes on it and deal with what's there, and then work together to manage it and make it the way that you want it to be, right? And I remember like Shanti and I was like, we merged our finances kind of like quick, like, because we in the business. It was like, all right, come on, let's look.
Right.
And I think we were more open to it than most
Others,
couples,
yeah,
because
yeah.
we work in the film. It's like, come
Yeah.
on, let's see what we got
we're
going on
doing.
here.
Yeah.
Right. So
And you also want to know the type of spender or saver the person that you're going to be with is, right?
yeah, facts.
Okay.
Everybody got their thing. I think it's great. So like, much like you, Shelly, you're meticulous, right? Shanti created like this budget. I remember it changed my life. Changed my life. And one of the things was, I'm like super, like, anyone who knows me, I'm like a 0 to 100 kind of guy. If we say we're gonna do something, I like run at that goal like head first, like through the brick wall, like there's no tomorrow, and I won't stop till we hit it, right? But Shanti was, all right, wait, let's slow down. She like to build up to things, right? So she's like my balance,
Right.
I'll wreck, right? So and I think one of the things that changed my life is Shanti created like, in part of the budget, she gave me like a discretionary part of the money, like where I could actually spend it on the frivolous things that I love to buy, and that changed my life because I didn't know like I could do that. I thought
Right.
if I got the money, it all got to go to investing or saving or whatever goal we're trying to hit, or nothing, right? Or I blow it all, right? I didn't know there was a middle ground because I don't think that way. And when she enlightened me with that, I was like, oh. And I've been living that way ever since. It's
There you
changed
go.
my life, man.
How did that happen? Did she see what you were making?
Yeah,
Or you both had to put everything in like the bucket?
A little bit of both, yeah. To put things in the bucket, you gotta know what each other's making, right? So it's be like,
Yeah, what the bucket looks like.
what the bucket look, what's
And-
what's in the bucket.
I think it's about empowerment for something that's long term. Because it's just like if you have a diet and you're just eating lettuce, right? It works for a short term, right? We might drop 50 pounds, but you can't sustain yourself on lettuce, right? So it might be a short term cutting things out, but how are we going to make this a lifestyle? Now, even though like you can look at each other's finances, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to pay all your bills together or different things, but just have a snapshot of what's going on, or the power of two. I think a lot of people underestimate that because you can accelerate debt payments. You can do a lot more with twice the amount of income, right? So that can make you stronger.
Facts.
Lettuce analogy was actually. Olivia told me that your analogy game was pretty on point. I was actually liking that. That was pretty dope.
Shout out.
Thank you.
No,
bro.
I got a question. Yo, if you guys are sitting with a client and you can tell off the bat they have like horrible money management. Yeah. Like everything they're saying is like you're gonna lose it all in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, what language do you use to speak to these people? I mean, like, because I'm sure you guys have spoken with dozens of people. I'm sure you guys have heard all the stories. Yeah. But like people that you know are doing the absolute wrong thing. Yeah. How do you tell them?
So I know we handle this completely different. Like, so most of like the people I talk to, like or clients or whatnot, are people that I know. It's like referrals. Like we all kind of like somehow in the same circle. And to be honest, I'm kind of upfront with people nowadays. In the beginning, I wasn't like this, but now I just tell people, I'm like, hey, this has to change, or else we don't got a shot. Right. And I just say, are we willing to change? Because if we're not, I don't want to waste your time. Let's not waste my time, right? So I'm pretty upfront with people nowadays. Because the truth of the matter is, like, we started when we were 23. Now we're in our early 30s. Like, people know they should be doing like these things, right? People know they should be saving. People know they should have certain things in place. Yeah,
the conversations have changed.
Yeah, so the conversation has changed. Before it was like more so navigating those waters, and but now it's like we should be doing this.
Right.
We know we have. You have a challenge from what you're saying. So are we willing to rectify? I could put a game plan together for us to fix it, but you have to be willing to change the behavior. Because that's really what it is when it comes to money. It's all your behavior. It's not really the money itself. It's your behaviors with it. And that's really it, to be honest with you. So that's how I handle it. I'm very upfront with people. I know Shanti is very, very professional.
I think, Kirk touched on an important point, which is asking questions. Because if it's not important to someone, they're not going to make those changes, right? And when you talk to someone who's like sick and tired, it's different, right? It's like, hey, if we do X, Y, Z, we can get on track. And you'd be, it's crazy what, like the difference. There's people who just have just all the opportunities to change, and they're just not going to change.
Word.
Right. And it almost doesn't matter what you say. And it's just really up to them. But when someone's ready, then they're open. It's receptive. It's like for a long time, I don't know if I should say this. Like, you know what you're supposed to do to get in shape, but I just wasn't trying to like really do those things all the time, right? Like, this is okay. This isn't my main concern right now. But then when we're like, okay, let's do it, and we start working out every day, and eating right, and just doing things in moderation. But it was that no one can bring someone to that point if they're not ready.
Right.
Now, if they're not ready, but maybe they want to change-ish, right? There are some tools, right? Maybe they're putting money out of sight, out of mind, right? They could pay themselves first and start to build a safety net. And a part of that is about empowerment, because some people just feel like they're so lost that they're like, how do I get back, right? Word. So it all depends on who you're talking to, right? We sit with people, all different income brackets, age brackets, life situations. So it can vary based on the person. But when someone's willing to change, you can show them tools that will help them move forward.
Wow.
That was very well said.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thanks, guys.
I actually have a question about you guys personally, because I'm still stuck on, combining your finances and how you guys just merged the two very quickly. Yeah. So from when you started to, talk about your finances together up until now, I want to, without getting too deep, but want to know what you think your growth has been from credit scores to how, to the money that you're saving. Like from then up until now, how has that been? Has it been growth, or you still?
How's the level up looking?
Yeah.
Well, I think there's some parts to that. When we started, like Kirk said, we were in our early 20s. And thank goodness we learned financial concepts kind of right when we were meeting. And, I definitely, personally had a lot to learn. It's amazing what you can do when you're young, right? And you just don't have that education. And then we made a decision together, right? So I think, I don't know, what do you think, babe?
It's been how many years? Now, when I started, let's say I was broken busted. Let's say I was broken busted. So now, everything has grown, right? As it should in life, though, right? We should be growing in life, right? So income is up, credit score is up, debt is down, right? So the trajectory is as we've depicted it, for sure. So once we merged our finances together, it gave me a better clarity, a more clear target to go after, and to zero in my 0 to 100 energy. And we knocked out a bunch of debt.
By being together, or just separate?
Together. Most definitely together. Most definitely together. Absolutely. I think a credit score. I remember. I think now it's over in the 700s. But before, when I started, it was in that. That's what you imagine a 23-year-old kid with credit score to be, right?
So what do they say? Fail fast and early, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like once we merge finances, I think like there's been like tremendous growth. I can see that.
And do you think it's because of the industry that you're in, or just the behaviors that you guys made?
I think it's more so the behaviors. It's a combination of both, actually. I think because we're in the industry, we learned
The behaviors.
behaviors, right? Right. So I think if we weren't in this industry, Lord knows,
Okay.
right? It probably would. We probably would still be learning, right? And it's all right. So it's funny because like you might come across people who say they're gonna do research and they Google everything, right? So it's funny because you can Google as much as you want, but you don't know what you don't know, right? You're just Googling thinking you're getting what you need until later you might find out, oh, wow, I didn't even know about that. Right. So I think like being in the industry gave us the inside look. Like we have access. I mean, like we work with companies that manage trillions of dollars. Yeah. I mean, like we have access to people who manage billions of dollars. When we are asking questions about the market and what to do, like we're talking to people who have like such a big picture view, right? They're like, don't even worry about that. Right. They're shrugging off. You know what everyone's screaming about, right? So it's like it gives you a different perspective, and you start, and once you're around it enough, you start naturally thinking like that and behaving as such, right? So it's a combination of both the industry and you. That's how we learn the behaviors for sure.
I would say like I literally joined the industry because I didn't know the behaviors, right? I was like, if someone can just teach me what I should be doing, that would help tremendously, right? Because a lot of times we're not taught. It's not, hey, do these things to get ahead, right? And especially in, I guess, middle class or even just where we're from, there's a lot of flash, no cash, right? And so it looks like it's crazy as we sit with people. Some of the best looking, is not always the case. So just finding our balance in there, and we do still want to live like we don't want to, like live like paupers to be millionaires. Like what are those people that like reuse foil and different things? There's a name
I'm
for.
not built like that.
Yeah, people who like live like super humbly so they can retire at like 35. Like we're not extreme.
People
like,
that wash their plastic fork and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's finding the balance about what's just doable long term, the longevity.
In regards to y'all like combining your like money like management habits and all that stuff, what were like were there any hurdles like doing it like early on? I mean, well, I guess you briefly spoke about like just spending and all that, but like was it like, all right, we're combining it together now, this is was it a challenge at all, or the minute y'all got with it, it was on and going?
I personally don't feel like it was a challenge. Was it? Do you think there were any?
I think there are things that you have to look at. Just making sure that you're in alignment, right? Do your goals match? Like once you decide you're going to be with someone forever, it's literally you guys against the world, right? So there's no right answer to that, but like I have to honor what's important to Kirk and vice versa and have that balance. Like if every time he buys a video game or something, I'm like, oh, you can't do that, but I'm buying makeup, like there has to be a give and take. I think there's a lot of candid conversation, but when you're comfortable with someone, it makes it easier, right? To just be transparent, right? So I think it's uncomfortable at first, especially when you're starting. Like we didn't start when we were like established in our jobs and making good money. We started before things looked, they didn't really look all that sexy, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna manage this $500. Imagine that conversation.
But it's a life journey too, and it's giving yourself grace and recalculating along the way. And you can make it fun. You can, get out a bottle of wine and review your finances. Maybe not 2 bottles, right? Like with moderation, but make it something that you want to do. Like maybe you guys are, all the podcast listeners, not you specifically, but it could be you're reviewing your goals. What do you want your life to look like in 5 years? And what are we willing to sacrifice to do that, right? So I think just finding that balance and then sticking with the plan is not always the most fun, right? It's
Right.
it's empowering, but
unforeseen circumstances, or you forget the plan, or you're just like, it's hard to.
yeah, I think I don't think we forget the plan, but I guess I'll go back to that diet analogy. Like it's like when you shouldn't have the cupcake. You might see your friend eating a cupcake, but maybe they're skinny already, or or they don't care, and just making certain decisions. Like you guys know we lived home for a long time, and that wasn't the easiest thing. We took a step back. So that's, I guess, rewinding. We took a step back. We lived home, but it was taking a step back to move forward. And you can see people doing glamorous things. It's like, but it's instead, yeah, I think the biggest thing, you never want to compare yourself with someone else. Compare yourself with who you were yesterday. And that's something, especially with social media, highlight reels, you see everyone doing well. It's really hard, right? But you just have to know your path, your course, and having a vision of that. So I think most people know what they're supposed to do, like before they swipe and buy something or what have you, but it's just doing it in the right time, and it helps to have someone that's going to keep you accountable to that, even if it can be uncomfortable in the moment, right? Like,
facts.
Yeah,
It can be uncomfortable, but I think like once you have your goals, like Shanti said, like you can always stay the course. 'Cause if your goals are that important, right? So set goals that are important to you, and then you chug through. But there are unforeseen circumstances that do come up. And you just revisit the plan and kind of try to rework that. I think it's nothing set in stone, but as things come up, you can always rework the plan.
Right.
So you can still hit your goal and accommodate these circumstances, right? But before those circumstances, you got to make sure, like, where does that fit? Like, is it in like an urgent, important thing you need to take care of, or is it like unimportant, right? You need to decide, can you forego that and let it be, or does it need to be taken care of, right? So stuff like that.
So for certain goals, I'm going to ask you guys, in your plan, what are your 3 top goals to achieve in the next 5 years? Like for us, right? We want to make sure that, because the next stage, we've gone through the dating, courting, all of that. We've gotten married. So the next stage is kids. So one thing that we want to talk about, or we want to start doing, is a baby fund or something like that, right? Then a house fund. And what's the third one? The third one is the top priority, traveling every year or every other year. So those are our 3 main things that we want to be able to consistently do and stick to for the next 5 years.
Yeah, I would say definitely family, home ownership, but then I would say leisure and the freedom of being you know what, at this particular time of the year, it's just us. And we have the means to do so, and that's what we're going to do. I feel like that'll be really healthy for us. So those are our top 3. And one thing I know you guys preach is, well, actually, no, before I get into that, you want to
I want to ask, what are your top 3?
All right.
And give us some, I guess you don't have to give us all the good stuff so people could pay you guys so they could get that. But you can just give loosely loose plan to kind of achieve at least one of them.
Yeah. So I would say a big goal that we had was buying a home. That was number 1. Almost kind of before marriage, I wanted us to have a place to come home to. So that was looming for a while, right?
Wow, yeah.
What's a while?
I think we was on a house search for was it like over 2 years?
Yeah, it was a long time that we were on the search, but I think everything happens in time. Like, I know a lot of people are going to real estate, but honestly, I'd be afraid to be a new homeowner and a landlord with the current state of affairs, right? We're seeing people lose their jobs that have never been out of work before, right? So I think it was kind of meant to happen because we never found something that worked. And I mean, we're in, New Jersey. It's a seller's market. It's very competitive. So we kind of just lucked out that things didn't work in that time. So I think that was honestly, in terms of a huge goal. Next, and I'm speaking for both of us, I hope that's okay.
I will correct if I see fit.
Children, definitely saving for children.
Fun thing, we've already started saving.
Yeah, fun.
How long has it been so far?
It's been a couple years.
Yeah, I think it's
so
been like 2
fun.
years
Y'all
already.
prepared.
Here's a fun fact. 529s are for like educational savings. There's no age, like you can open one at any age. So you could open one for yourself now, and then when you have children, change them to the beneficiary of those funds. So that's something that we started, and even for family that we're close to, that we love, just making sure that's intact. That's gonna make everything easier, and years to come. So that's one thing you can do, and I would say the third thing is being debt free, outside of maybe the mortgage.
Yeah.
For like a 5-year goal.
Nice.
That. Do you have anything to?
No.
add to
That's
my love.
That's legit.
What is
The
the
stuff we
plan
talk about.
towards either one of those goals? By plan, I mean,
What steps we're taking toward
yes.
to
Yeah.
What are the steps that you're taking without being too thorough and deep?
So for the children, the 529, and just putting money aside. Like I'm a little crazy. Like I don't.
So that's a savings plan.
Yeah, a 529, it can be an investment. So you can invest in a 529. Let me be clear. That's a good question, right? You can invest in a 529 and get a better rate of return on average over time, right? Better than the banks, because the banks aren't paying anything.
Right.
So if you're investing like $25 a month now, that can make a significant difference if you're not going to touch that for 18 years, right? Or 19 if you don't even have children yet, right? We're not expecting or anything like that. We're drawing out that time frame, and even if you start with something small, it has time to grow. Right. So for that, and if it's a short-term goal, maybe you're putting money away, but I'll say what helps me: out of sight, out of mind. Right. Sometimes if you see money in your account, it can burn a hole. Right. It's like, oh, this is here.
Yeah.
Right. So having accounts, maybe you have a credit union that's inconvenient to get to, right? That's how I started saving. Just putting it in a credit union without like a Visa or MasterCard, right? Anything where I had to physically go to the bank to buy something. Because if you're home online browsing, do you want it bad enough to get in your car to drive, 30 minutes away to pull out this money?
Yeah.
Probably not. And the feeling can subside, right? And then for debt, you can actually, one of the things we do have is software that calculates how to save on money and time, right? Susie Orman calls it debt snowballing. We call it debt stacking, right? But you can calculate, hey, let me pay this off first. And that'll save because it might have a higher interest rate or the balance. So we actually calculate that. So we know kind of where to allocate any extra money that comes in.
Thank you.
Awesome. That was
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
valuable information.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think this will probably. Do you have any other questions? I have probably one last one.
I'm gonna have tons, so go ahead.
Oh yeah.
I'm very
love it.
interested.
I'm gonna let you go ahead.
You
before.
go ahead.
Well, mine is kind of final, so I'd rather have you.
Oh, is it
Yeah,
final?
yeah. So go
So
ahead.
how has, I have this one question about you guys merging finances. Do you guys have separate accounts?
Yeah.
Okay. Every time, I feel like there's an undertone to his response. Is that like important to have your separate account?
Absolutely.
It's, we're not in, finance jail. Like, not like, where did this, like, you want to have your own money, but you can have a joint account with someone you trust. So that's a huge, like, I should say, a disclaimer. Everything we say is, only the opinion of our own, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right. But
we're not professionals. We're just telling our story.
yeah,
Pretty
but
much.
we have a joint account where we can collectively, contribute for things that we're buying together. But we absolutely, I think I drive
individual
Kurt
account.
crazy with. I have accounts for like things.
Everything.
So
Everything.
I have separate accounts. Like we know we're going to.
May I ask how many, or is it like more than 5? Is it?
It's
got-
more than 5.
She has like a dozen. I got like 3.
But it helps me compartmentalize because I'm a planner. So I wouldn't recommend that for
If you're not a planner.
80-90% of people.
Yeah.
But to know, like, I have money for, like, if I want to save for a car, right? Money going towards that, and that's just going towards the car, right? We have our emergency fund. You're going to X amount of weddings a year. I mean, with the pandemic, it's a little bit different, but
Before the panda wheels out, sure.
yeah, I think,
Saving a lot now, though.
Facts.
yeah, like one thing someone told me, and I'll never forget it. They were like, why do we act like certain things are a surprise? Like, if you celebrate holidays, Christmas is coming every year. Your mother's birthday is coming every year, right? God will, right? You know what I mean? Like,
Just plan for it.
yeah, you can plan for it. And I think that helps maybe have a gift account, right? Until we're bringing in so much where maybe it doesn't matter, right? Where the money's coming from, where the discretionary is like, 10 grand a month or, something fun. But until there, it kind of helps me just visualize it all. But I don't recommend that to.
That's just for you.
Yeah, that's personal. For some clients with, let's say if they're new to spending, I might say having, just money a little bit separate. Maybe it's envelopes, but now we're not doing cash. But that used to be a thing that we would do, having money in separate places, right?
I remember those days. Remember that?
Yeah.
Envelope of cash for gas, right? In the car.
Yeah.
Right.
All
They
this
used to
cash.
call it what? Petty cash or something like that? Or is that from
We ain't called it petty cash. We called it.
Yeah, like, we literally
Yes,
had it in an envelope. Now, be careful where you keep said envelope. Don't just leave it out depending on where you're at. But but we literally, like, when we started off, it was an envelope for cash. And just to keep track of it, because, you sit with people and it's like, okay, where's the money going? And they're like, I don't know. They have no idea what's.
That happens to me. Well, not happens, but it happened to me frequently when I was younger, I guess. Or now, maybe now. I'm not gonna lie.
Amazon lives at our door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
And
of
I'm
this.
just
Because of
like,
this.
I don't know.
This one right here. Like Amazon just.
But I'm a saver.
That's the thing. It's funny. Like she spends way more than me. Like I'll look at a shirt for 15 minutes before I'm like, you know what? Do I really need it? She'll buy 3 and then pick at the house like this one. She's like, if I don't want it, I'll just send it back, or I'll just keep it and buy another 3 shirts when I'm ready. That's how she does it. And I'll look at something for 20. I'm like, I have to
Clearly
really.
need more help.
But the funny thing is, she's actually the funny. Even though she does that, you actually are good with managing your money, and you actually actively save. Like you save aggressively. So maybe that's why you feel like you're comfortable to do stuff like that, because you know what's coming in, you know what's going out, you know what you're putting away. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't. I don't think you would just move like that. So that's why even though I'll be criticizing sometimes, I try not to, because I'm like, she know what she's doing.
Right.
Very good observation.
Yeah.
I'll be trying, you feel me? So we actually here. I know you think I'll be hating, but I be hating. I ain't gonna lie. Like,
Y'all are so
He
cute.
want to shop like you.
yeah, that's a fact.
That's really what it is.
I'll be looking at stuff like, bro, I
I'll
don't really.
get you some things, sweetheart.
You got me something? What you get me? don't set me up like that. I'm getting excited.
Anywho, so I know that you guys travel.
Yeah.
And how often do you guys travel?
For work or
No, leisure.
Not often for leisure.
Yeah. Well, I think like all the traveling we've done over the last few years, We extend work trips for
like an extra day.
For have a leisure
Literally,
portion, but most of our traveling has been because of work.
Right.
Okay. That you guys had to be responsible for financially, or your job would pay for it?
No, yeah, that's different. So we're self-employed, so we kind of write it all off at the end of the year. So I guess the work is kind of responsible for it ultimately, but we foot it up front, but ultimately it gets written off.
Okay.
Taxed it.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, build a business.
There you go.
Everything's tax deductible.
So if we were to average it out, would it be like once a year, twice a year, for leisure?
For leisure, I think
Maybe once a year.
Arizona
Well,
was like the only guaranteed.
yeah.
But we found a way to write that to make
Well,
that a business.
we're licensed in Arizona,
Yeah, so
Oh, you guys are licensed?
we're
Oh,
licensed in like almost all 50 states. So
Oh, y'all really?
yeah, so with that, so everywhere we go can be a business
Yeah.
trip.
I did not know
But
that.
it is. It like literally
Yeah.
is a business. Like
Yeah. So it's funny because once you like have a business, and since we're licensed in like every state, whenever we go somewhere, we just have to have a business conversation, whether it's on the phone or what have you, and then that makes that entire stay a business
Trip. So you
Taxed it.
that is really so you guys. So it's like you guys getting licensed and all. Was that like y'all just covering y'all bases? Like, hey, when I go out to Montana, I might just do business.
So yeah, well, we don't do it proactively. It's more so like, all right, if we know we got a trip that's going out there, then we're like, okay, let me just get licensed.
Oh wow, that's.
And
all right,
as
I
you
like
get
that.
referrals, like they might say, "Oh, you should talk to my cousin. She lives in Georgia."
Yeah.
Right? Or like we go to Arizona because my best friend's out there, and we see our godson every time.
okay.
And but then she's like, "Oh, you have to talk to my friend," and you build relationships, and
Yeah.
people have questions for you, and then it's
Right,
like,
right, right.
okay,
That's so
let's
true.
set time. So it is organic,
Right.
like. And places we like to go, or we frequent for the most part.
You know what's funny? I forget that Arizona is technically a business trip. I forget that
Yeah.
we got clients out there, and it's like
Yeah,
when we go out there, we do update people, so it turns
Yeah.
into a.
It's
Right.
funny
Yeah.
because also when you're a financial person, when people talk to you, they just naturally talk to you about their account, like their accounts, like.
Okay, without even.
Yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, I have this, and they'll ask you. It's kind of like I've heard doctors, like if someone's a doctor, everyone's like, hey, I have this thing on my shoulder. Can you look at it?
Yeah.
So I think it's that same, it's that comparison. So yeah.
Do y'all get like tired of that? Like, hey, look, you can talk to me about the weather and all types of other stuff, or
No, I don't get tired of it. Cause
Nah, we're not tired of it yet. I'm pretty sure
yeah, not yet.
there will be a day where we probably just won't say anything. We'll just be like, their finance, right?
But it's exciting, and I think talking, like if you're around people you already want to be with, it doesn't feel like
yeah, it
work,
doesn't feel like
right?
right.
It's like, yeah, let's get into it for
Yeah.
a second, and then we can always let's refocus, but I think it's still fun.
Yeah.
It's still fun, at least.
Well, sidebar, what was your best vacay? Like, what was your best trip that I went to?
Trip so far? I feel like we should like write it down separately. I'm curious.
I think the one that rings bells for me is Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say Mexico.
That was a great time.
And that was not we did business.
We did
but
business, yeah.
that was a good friend, their wedding. So it was like 100 people.
Yeah. Imagine having a destination wedding. Destination weddings are traditionally smaller, right?
Right.
But our friend had 100 plus people fly out
100 people flew out
to Mexico,
and a lot of them we
destination.
knew,
And
right?
we
So
knew
it
most
was
of the
like
people.
so cool.
It was like one of the dopest experiences ever. It
and
was
celebrating them,
yeah,
and
it was dopest
Yeah.
ever. Yeah, gotta do that shit again.
yeah,
That's
that
dope.
was awesome.
Let me ask why I brought up the traveling thing. So you guys practically save for these trips, or are they impromptu? Do you guys leverage credit cards? Like, I'm just curious about the steps that you take to actually consistently travel every year.
Yeah, I think every year we know, like, there's a certain amount of trips we know that we're gonna make. I think there's a guaranteed like 3 to 4 trips we know that we're going.
And how much lead time do you have?
Oh, we know it's happening. So if you know a trip is happening, you got a whole year.
So if you know you're going to travel regularly, right? Maybe you're putting money aside for the next travel thing, right? So it's that same, like, if you know holidays are every year, you know you're going to go somewhere every year. Like, we know there's a certain amount of work trips that we'll have, right? So even if you're putting away a good portion, you kind of are prepping for that.
Got it.
Facts, so
So if you want to travel, maybe see how much that would be. Like, you know, a nice resort, something, and then break it down for the, you know, month to month.
Yeah.
And then you start saving, and then you can set it out, and then you're still saving, you know, when you have the extra time.
We've been spoiled with the all-inclusive option. Now we feel like that's everything we do must be all-inclusive. Yeah, it was just,
agree with you.
it was a different experience, man.
I agree with
you.
I agree with
I just felt rich. Like, I couldn't explain it. Like, yo, being out, just real quick, our honeymoon, like being out in St. Lucia, like, and we stuck out there. Like, we were around, like, you know, older, like, you know, like white couples.
What time of year did you guys go? It was like
We went into top of the year, early January. It was January 5th to January 12th. Thanks for the luggage. Yeah, Kurt, you came in. Yo, you low key got us the best wedding gift. That came in super clutch.
Yeah,
like,
it was awesome.
Yeah, that helped out. But we went top of the year. That was our first time. Like, that was my first time off of like North American soil, like ever. And then,
that was
like,
our first trip internationally.
Yeah, that was our first international. Well, except for I guess Canada, if you want to count
Canada
that.
does not count.
Yeah, don't. It's still the same ground. But just being out there, like walking up into every restaurant and not needing money. I mean, we kept cash just to tip. We was tipping. We was big tipping everybody out there. Yeah. And because, like, you know, St. Lucia, they kind of like us. They speak a dialect of Creole. But we kind of stuck out there because we were like,
you'll have a good time.
Yeah, we were like this young couple, like we were 27, 28, how old we was. And everybody else was like significantly older than us, in their 50s, celebrating like their 30 years of marriage and all that stuff. And none of our peers were there. And to be honest with you, the people that were really working it looked like more of our peers. Yeah. So they just gravitated towards us, just talking to us. They knew us by name and all that stuff. But the energy was just, after that, I was like, yo, we're going to have to like travel every year. I felt like, and if we do travel, it got to be all inclusive because I've literally been spoiled with that. Like, I just want to walk in.
And we do have to do a couples trip one year.
That's another big plan. That's the real goal of this. Getting everybody all together, getting schedules right, and doing something with all of y'all.
Families, no families. I mean, well, we can't travel with the babies. Like, if we're gonna do, we could probably do 1 year with babies.
Grown up trip.
Yeah. Because I'm not bringing them all the time. Sorry.
Yeah, St. Lucia was definitely.
I remember living vicariously through your like social. I loved like all your posts, and I'd be like, "Babe, look at this." You're the first person to say that.
Yo,
I love
it. But yo, it was funny. I made it my business to post every day because I was like, you know what? I was like, after the wedding, I just noticed how much, like, I remember I had a performance like the 4 days before, and then I got married, and I noticed how much traction my performance video was getting just because I got married. So, but nothing I had was married. I had nothing wedding related on my page, but people was going there to try to see it that wasn't there.
Yeah.
So that was, but the first thing they saw was my performance video. So I was like, where are all these likes coming from? I'm like, oh, people just trying to find. So they was hitting that. But when we was in St. Lucia, I noticed like. I noticed the views were going up, so I felt obligated to let people know what was going on. All right, now we on the Doom Bug. All right, now we doing this. Like, let's let them in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I would be doing the same thing.
You guys sold me personally the dream. And I was like, babe, look.
It was fun. It was a good time.
Look, y'all look like y'all had fun.
Yeah.
It was
Looking
incredible,
like
man.
young black excellence. It was so beautiful.
2018 was a very tumultuous year.
Yeah, it was a tough year.
And it was so that was our time of just complete nothingness. When we got there, we went to sleep. Like the first day, we just KO, and then from then on, we were just on go. We ate and went to sleep. That's why I gained all that weight. I was
That was fun.
Hey, by the way, man, you looking good. Both of y'all looking good.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, my brother.
trying to do our
I've been trying to stay. I'm trying to clean up everything I was doing in the past. Like, I have to clean all of that up. But I appreciate you, man.
I have another question. Oh yeah, that was the question. So no, was it the question?
What are you talking about?
The
Taking
steps that
trips?
you've taken, or no? Do you guys use credit cards?
We have credit cards, but we kind of try to
Sparingly.
sparingly use them, right? So
Only if you need to. Is that what you're trying to say?
yeah, only if we need to, and it's more so like emergency, like super duper emergency. But we have emergency funds, so if an emergency comes up, we got cash.
That'd be like, God
Right,
forbid,
so
yeah.
right, but if there's like some large emergency that I don't have enough cash for, then we use the card or something like that. But yeah, we try to not use credit cards. We just try not to use them.
I respect. I think that's what they should be used for.
It's better to have and not need, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think that's the thing, just having that discernment of when, right? And there's things that give you points, different things, but most of them aren't worth it, and they try and suck you in, right?
Oh my gosh, I had the same feeling. I was like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So it's not. It's a joke, basically.
Well, a lot of times, if someone puts something on a card, if you're not paying that right off, right, it can double, quadruple in what you paid, right?
Yeah.
So you might get,
Yeah.
$2 cash back, but is it comparable to what you're paying in interest, right?
Right.
I think that's the thing. Just you have to govern yourself.
Facts. Yeah, there's like guidelines to getting credit cards. Like if you're gonna get a credit card, you wanna make sure it don't got no annual fees.
Right.
Right. At least have some sort of benefit. Like I like the cash back or stuff like that. Yeah. But when it comes to it also depends why you're getting a credit card, right? Like most people say they want a credit card to build their credit. There's 1,000 ways to build your credit without accumulating debt.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's so many ways. I think it's like, the media is very powerful. So it's just the way that we're taught that we need to build credit, and you don't actually need to do that to build credit. You can do it so many other ways, right? If you want a card, I always tell people to get a secured card, right? So that's a card where you put the money up. You put your $500 up to open this credit card, and it's your $500 that's funding this credit card instead of
Borrowing.
Capital One giving you $500, right? So, and by doing that, there's literally no interest. So when you use that credit card, there's no interest on those payments. You're basically paying yourself back. And the great thing about that is that it gets reported to the credit reporting agencies, and your credit score goes through the roof because they see it as a credit card. Right, so I would highly recommend that. Like I did that.
Right.
That's what I did to
get
get
a
my
secured
credit card.
credit
Yeah.
card?
I got a secured credit card. So you said what?
How?
So when I was in my early 20s, I was trying to get my credit up, and I didn't qualify for unsecured credit card, which is the typical credit card that we know today. So my bank offered a secured one. So I did some research and found out what a secured credit card was, and all that means is that you gotta fund
That money.
basically, right? So if you want $1,000 credit limit, you gotta give that bank $1,000, and they're gonna say, okay, this $1,000 is gonna be your credit limit, right? And the byproxy of that is that there's literally no interest. There's no interest. There's no late fees. Like all the cons of having a credit card just don't apply when you have a secured card.
And it's still
Nice.
seen as the same as other credit cards.
Exactly, right? By the credit reporting agencies. So when you make on-time payments, it reflects greatly. When you don't make on-time payments, they don't report it. They just be like, all right, bro, you can't do this. Like, they just deduct it from, like, your credit limit because it's your money.
Right.
So, it's cool.
Yo.
Ooh, they dropping gems.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
Like
lie. I
that?
did not know that.
Yeah.
Listen,
did not know
I
that.
told people, like, if they really want to get their credit up, that's most likely the way you want to do it. The only thing is, like, these companies want you to get credit cards. So
Right.
once you have a secure card, guaranteed they're gonna say, hey,
You can convert.
we're
this.
gonna convert
Yeah.
this to unsecured debt, give you your money back, and increase this to, instead of $1,000, $10,000.
Right.
And they're gonna hit you with the okey doke. Don't do it.
Don't take the bait.
Yeah, don't take the bait.
Yeah.
Right. Use your own money and boost your credit score, man. If you really want to do that.
Dope.
Now word.
I have one final question before your question, sweetheart.
Well, no, I think that could be it. You ended up you covered everything with what you asked.
I can ask one more.
No, go ahead. I'm saying you
Oh,
covered up
okay.
what I wanted to ask.
Okay. So your actual financial literacy came from you guys just being curious, being interested. How did that affect your family? So like parents, brothers, sisters, like are they on a good path that you guys are on right now?
So I'll go first, right? So I guess like my family, it's funny because like we're super passionate about what we do, and kind of like hammer. You know how you talk to your family. Hey, you gotta do this. You
Yeah.
gotta do this.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's funny. There's a certain amount of people who gonna take to it, and some people who gonna dilly dally. And I think that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think like the people, like my folks, they got a plan in place. Some of my siblings got a plan in place, but everybody don't got a plan in place. Till this day, I'm still like, hey, you.
Yeah.
Stop. You got to get some. You got to stop and get
Right.
something in place. Right. And they're like, yeah, I know, man. And they just go ghost. That's just how it go.
Right.
Some people just not ready. But, yeah, immediate family, I think they got something in place at least. I could say. And I know, God forbid anything's happen, they're going to be all right. They're going to be all right. And that's the goal. That's the goal, right? Not leave the family in financially destitute. God
Right.
forbid anything happens, right? So, man, immediate folks got a plan.
Yeah. I would say, I do come from a family of very independent thinkers, right? And everyone has their way of doing things, but just over time with consistency, right? You plant seeds. And over time, it's like, hey, wait, what you're saying, one, it's been pretty consistent over time, and it makes sense. And they might be like, oh, I heard this somewhere. I remember you saying this, right? So over time, it wasn't like overnight everyone got on board, but I would say, most of the nearest and dearest are good, and that feels good. And almost more importantly, God forbid anything happened to us, we're not leaving any, burden behind, or, we just don't want, we just want everyone to be good, to be better off than when we came, into this world. So I think it's a process, and people, all different age brackets, right? We have younger people in our families. Just like when we started, it might be something, first, is this even important? And then, okay, this is important, I'll listen. And then, once, we have kids now, maybe this is something we should prioritize, or, so everyone has their own path,
Right.
Yeah.
right? But the most important thing in my eyes is just, I don't want anyone to say, like, why didn't you talk to me about this, right? You never told me, right? I didn't know,
Word,
right?
right.
So you can, once someone's an adult, people are going to do what they're going to do,
wanna do.
right? But you just give people the option, and it's always an open door. It's always love. So you never want to make it where someone can't come back and say, hey, I remember you telling me about that thing. Can we review that again? So.
Right. I think like that's the whole concept of generational wealth, right? Leaving the people leaving the generation after you better off than you came.
Right.
Right. And we talk about this all the time, and it's funny because I think about it all the time. I think about like where my parents come from, and you know, we Haitian, right? So my family come from like their journey is just different. Like, you know what I mean, they came to this country out of necessity. Like there was no jobs home. They had to leave to go find jobs. Like that was the scenario. It was like we couldn't stay here. My mom went to Venezuela, my dad went to Canada, and they somehow met up in the States, right? I don't know how that happened, right? They can't explain that right to me, but but I mean, but you know, they came and you think about it like
that's another podcast.
Yeah, that's another podcast. And I think about all the time. I'm like, so what possessed them to leave their home to try to make a better life, right? And the things that's important to my parents, I mean, it's like standard for me now. Right? You think about I think I'll never forget my pops telling me at a young age, like he ate meat once a week. So that's why every day there's hella meat on the table growing up, right? Like, and so it's like the things that's important to my parents is like just so standard for me, right? And it's just like I understand why their standards are where they at, right? Because where they came from, what they had to overcome. So for me, I grew up a certain way. So it's like, all right, so our kids, when they come, we want them to have a certain standard, right? We want to set a certain standard for them as well, right? Yeah. So, and that's what it's all about. You know, and that's what we're trying to teach and get people to do instead of starting over, because that's what happens in our communities, right? We spend our lifetimes getting to a certain area, and then something happens, we pass, and then the ones behind us have to start all over again. Right. You see that happen time and time again. And it's because they just don't have, you know, in our communities, we work hard. We're not strangers to working hard. We put in the work, right? We just don't put in, I guess we don't use the same work ethic to learn how to keep that in place. Right. So for those behind us, right? So, and that's what it's all about.
Nah, you're right, man. I think I forgot who was talking about this, but I remember it was a Breakfast Club interview, and you know, I think when it comes to like parents and children, and in regards to like, you know, if a father worked hard for something, and then you know, let's say he reaches a certain level of success, and then his son wants to do the same thing or something different, it's like, you got to get it like I did. So it's like the father started here, now he's at the top. But then it's like, yo, you need to get it from the bottom too. So it's like a process like this all the time, as opposed to like, all right, now that I'm up here, you can start up here with me, but then you take it here, as opposed to we just grow. And I think that mentality is something that, I don't know why we have to, like the idea of struggle is like, it has to be, it's like a necessity. Like you must.
It's like a badge of honor.
Right. Yeah. Like I had to, you know, eat grass for 10 days, years to get to you have to add to, I was living off of, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it is.
What's crazy about that? It's like, I understand that thing, but the thing is that people don't realize is that there's new struggles at every level.
For real.
So it just, all right, if you really want your kids to go through a struggle, you don't need to worry about that, because they're going to go through struggle regardless.
Absolutely.
Like, it's going to happen. Life going to give that to you. That's how life is designed.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody, because the human mind, we perceive things differently. So we might not see it as a struggle, right? But it's going to be a struggle for somebody.
No, that's true.
It's
like you talking to your folks, and your folks are like, "Hey, y'all have it easy. We used to walk to whatever." But then, like, you know, but we got like student loan debt. They never had that. It's different levels.
It's different.
You know what I'm saying?
Every level got different
challenges.
Different challenges.
Yeah. Like,
and that's the thing, right? And it's funny because like your parents can't help you with that, because they don't know how to navigate those waters.
Right.
They're like, I went to school for free. Like,
facts.
So you're like, yeah. So how do I handle $100,000? And they be like, I mean, they can't really wrap their heads around it because they're not there. So at every level, there's new challenges, and once we understand that, like, there shouldn't be an issue leaving our kids off better than we came, right? There shouldn't be an issue with that, because for them to go to the next level, they're going to have to overcome something.
Exactly.
We don't know what it is because
Right.
we overcame what we had to overcome.
Right,
now
right,
they
right.
got to move it forward, and they're going to have new challenges.
Yeah.
And we just got to entrust them to overcome those challenges.
Yeah. Just like we do.
That's just how it goes. That's life, man. That's how it go. That's how it go. And you look at other communities, like for sure, like the Jewish community, the Asian community, like they're so good at that, man.
Oh my gosh.
Like leaving the next generation off,
Like no other.
like really well, and like suited to handle the next steps. Like they do that like clockwork. Like
Right.
if we could get that
Yeah.
going in our community, they have a system.
Yeah.
They have a system.
It's been in place for many,
We
many
should
years.
get a system.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a challenge, man.
It's a mentality, man.
Yeah, it's. There's so much I can say about that.
It's a different podcast.
That's another.
That's part two.
That's another episode for sure.
All right.
So I guess this is my final question. When do you guys plan to retire?
That's good.
That's a great question.
We talk about this.
Your retired
About
goals.
this all the time. Yeah, I think like. So I think, retirement. So retirement is for us. It's a little different because we plan on no longer being customer facing. Like within the next 5 to 10 years, like we probably won't be customer facing anymore. But we're always gonna kind of be attached to the business because we've already started transitioning to training people.
Right.
Right. So our business isn't only educating people, but it's educating people how to do what we do. Right.
Right.
We're building a brokerage. Right. So like we're always going to be attached to the business in that facet, from like helping people build businesses, build their brokerage to do what we do. But yeah, customer facing side, in the next 5 to 10.
I would say like not taking on new clients.
Yeah.
You know.
Just taking care of the old, right?
Yeah. And maybe it's working a few days a week. Like the thing is, once you build a business, it's life by design. Right. It's literally whatever you want it to be.
Make your own schedule.
Yeah. So it's weird because when you own your own business, you're working because you want to. You could technically, like it's always up to you. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if there will ever be an official retirement, like we're done, right?
Yeah.
But maybe it's, I do imagine when our kids are a little bit older and they need us being able to go to if they have sports games or like literally whatever they're into, it doesn't matter, but just being able to be really supportive in their lives and
Recital.
right. And I think it means a lot for both parents to be able to be there, not one or the other, or
Right.
like that. So I think as life transitions, maybe taking more of a backseat on certain things, like but thank goodness for the pandemic, but thank goodness for this last year in that we learned the flexibility of working virtually. So I think that's definitely extended things versus having to travel all the time or,
That was a big part of what we did was just traveling to the locations where people was at.
Right.
That
Not
was
always exciting places. Like when
Pulling
people
up to
think
people's
traveling,
cribs.
it's like, the
Yeah.
nice places, but it's driving 2 hours to go to South Jersey or,
Yeah.
or,
Yeah, we in the hoods too, man.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, don't forget that part, man.
Pull up
We-
to
we
Irving,
got all-
pull up to Irving
all
Turner
that.
Boulevard.
Actually, there's a lot more of that than,
We in the
Yeah.
hoods more than
Yeah.
you know, right?
Yeah,
So
it'd be like that.
in the
They
dark,
they
dressed
got
in
to know too.
professional clothing. That junk is,
Yeah, the
don't
hood
miss
got to
that
know
as
too,
much
man.
either.
yeah, right. It's great to just talk to somebody over the phone, but like I'm gonna send you the Zoom link now instead of me
Oh
driving.
yeah, it got to be 10 times
Instead of me
easier,
saying, "Hey, what's your address?
Yeah.
Right.
When are you home?" And I mean, traveling there now it's just a Zoom link.
Yeah.
And you chat it up. And it's
Right.
cool because I think one of the things that amazes me the most about the whole pandemic is how the majority of people have really just kind of flipped the switch to being okay virtually. I feel like before the pandemic, if you mention doing stuff virtually, people would be standoffish. But
Yeah.
because of the pandemic, so everyone's open to it, and everyone's saying, "Yeah, absolutely. I'm on Zoom for church. So I can do Zoom for this."
Right.
That's what I got
That
night
was the
and
key.
day. Like,
Right.
I'm on Zoom for church, and I was like, "If church is doing it, we could do it. We could do it, right?" So that's been really dope because people just talking as if you're sitting with them, and
Right.
I mean, it's business as usual. Should I say?
Yeah.
Okay, one final question.
Yeah.
You said that 3 times.
I know. But this is not financial. I'm just curious to know what your love languages are.
Shanti's is physical touch. I know that for a fact.
All right.
Okay.
And Kirk's is acts of service.
Yeah.
Wow.
Primary.
That's a switch.
Yeah, I know.
When we started dating, this is a fun story. He didn't like holding hands.
I couldn't do it.
Oh.
Yeah, he couldn't do it. And his best friend was like, when he knew it was real, was like, "Oh, y'all holding hands?"
This must be serious.
Yeah, that's important. That's,
Yeah.
that's important. So,
Okay.
how about you guys?
I like. Go ahead.
Yeah, mine is hers is acts of service. Mine is words of affirmation. But I could say next up, I think second for me would be physical touch. Second for her would be quality time. And I feel like hers fluctuate from time to time. Like she's on a high when things are just done. She walks home and she don't have to do anything, and I did exactly what she asked me to do. Her energy is just different. Or if I'm just home for a long period of time, just spending time with her. If I'm not going away a lot, there was a point in time when I was either performing a lot or I was doing this a lot. I was running around. Her energy will be off if I'm away too much. So when I'm home,
Not true.
no,
Okay,
that's a fact.
it's
That's a fact. If I'm home and stuff is getting done, she's at her best self. Her energy's up and all that stuff. Me, I'm a words guy. I like compliments. I do. It could be the smallest thing. It could be a good job. Then I'm just on. All right, what can I do to make sure it's a good job every time? I don't know why I'm like that. And sometimes I feel like it's a disadvantage. 'Cause I feel like the same way words could build you up, they could break you down. If you put too much weight to it. But yeah, I realize if she says I really appreciated you doing whatever, I'm just good for the day. I don't know, that does something to me. I can't explain it, but I guess that's.
So you guys read that book?
I think that book cleared up. I read that at a very important time. I read that before I proposed, and I think that was probably one of the most important books I read, cover to cover, because it was it just answers so many questions.
It does, right? You learn. It's funny when we read that book together, and I think I learned so much about myself.
Oh, yeah, for real.
I was like, it's funny. Everything made sense. I read that book. I was like, oh, it was like the pieces, of your past, just the puzzle pieces just started fitting. You're just like, oh, no wonder that didn't work. No wonder that you feel me? No wonder why. This excites me and so on and so forth. And it was, that book changed the game for sure.
Yeah, it definitely
elevated
the game for sure. And once we figure out each other's love language, it's fun. It's like a cheat code, right?
Yo, it really is.
Is it not like a cheat
It really
code?
is.
Because you know exactly what you gotta do
Yeah.
to make that person happy. It's like if your partner's unhappy, you're and you know their love language, you're doing that on purpose.
It's true.
Talking,
It's
all right,
true
I
what
like
you're
that.
saying.
Literally,
I like
you're
that.
doing it
It's
on
like
purpose.
you're just
I've never
being
thought
in-
of it like that.
I literally,
But,
but
I guess,
physical touch is so simple. It's just little
Yeah.
stuff like rubbing the back. It's when people think physical touch, people
They
get
go with
crazy.
the-
Get your minds out the gutter.
People get crazy, but
Yeah.
it's not even that deep, right? It's so funny. It's it's so funny because Shanti knows when I'm cheating. I'm hey, how's it going? She's like, stop it. I'm upset. I'm angry. And I'm like, no, let's just cuddle and talk. But it's man, it's that book definitely. It's highly recommended. I think we get that book for everybody.
Yeah, I would recommend
Every
it.
couple.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you proposed?
Right. Right.
Like, I think, how many couples did we give that book? I think we gave
It
that.
was a few people.
Probably like half a dozen couples.
Yo, nah,
Like,
that-
read this if you guys want to just stay together.
We love
in
y'all,
the
so
smoothest way
stay
possible.
together.
Yo, for real,
Yeah.
that's the book.
It's true.
I told my mother I wanted to propose. She suggested that book to me and another book called, I didn't read this, but it's called I Married the Wrong Person. I'm not sure who the author was, but I got that's not something I should have read too. But she said that was an incredible book.
But you married the right person.
Yeah, I handled that. But, nah, but the love languages thing is really like, it's really like the way he broke it down. Like, yo, you're speaking a different language to this woman. Like,
Right.
like you over here, like in me, since I realized my love language was words of affirmation, I used to give her all the words in the world,
the time.
and she don't care nothing about the words. Like, I realized I used to
It's
be like,
funny.
yo,
It's funny.
beautiful,
Like
da, da, da.
your love language. You want to be loved that way, so you just
So you give
Show
spew
love.
exactly you
to
spew
the
it out.
world like, hey,
Yeah.
right? And people just be like, ew, get out of here. I don't want that. Right?
Word.
That's their response, and it's funny because
Yeah.
acts of service. I do mad stuff. I used to do mad things, and she's like, thanks.
Cool.
And I used to just be looking like, this isn't the result I was really hoping. What's going on?
Word.
And we read that book, and it's funny. It's like the lights turned on, man.
Yeah.
Yo, for real.
I used to overwhelm Kirk with
All the physical touch.
just like
If
hugs
I-
and
If I had a hard time holding hands, like imagine how I feel with all
Right.
these hugs. I'm like, I'm about to explode all the time.
Yeah, I used to be
Tone it
like,
down a little
I was
bit.
like, yo, you're beautiful. You're this, you're that. Yeah, she's like, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I know.
appreciate
I
it.
know.
Right?
I'm like, damn. I just gave you gold.
I love
Like,
that he does this, but I'm just like, yeah, but.
and then I'll just take the trash out. I'll take the trash out and then change the game for the whole game.
Thank you so much.
I'm like, that's all I had to
love
do.
you. That's all you had to do.
Yo, it'll be something small. I'll literally give you like, we'll be having dinner. I'll just hand her a fork. Like, thank you so much.
It really does.
I'm like, damn.
Yeah,
okay.
love
it's a
language.
thought.
Yeah, I realize no matter how small or
Considers me
big,
that way.
like it really it affects me.
It does.
Cheat code.
Yeah, that's the book. Yeah, shout out to what was the author?
Gary Chapman.
Gary Chapman.
I never forget that
Yeah,
man.
Gary
there's other
Chapman.
books too about
Yeah,
certain
for
things.
the ones for kids, the love language
Yeah.
of kids.
Oh,
Read
right.
that proactively.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
I can learn how to talk to my nieces.
Oh, okay.
That's dope.
Okay.
I don't know if she likes this. Right, kids, you be like, how do I talk to this child?
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's funny.
God help us.
It's good. We get to practice.
You
before.
get to practice. Actually get kids.
Yeah.
That's good. It's good. This has been fun.
Well, thank you
Yeah,
guys.
yo,
This
thank you.
was
Yo, y'all
awesome.
were incredible. Well, y'all gave us the information that we know that y'all were gonna be insightful. We know y'all were gonna
Yeah.
give us the good information,
Y'all got some
and y'all
gems.
did.
Y'all
Like,
dropped some.
oh yeah,
real
yeah,
good
some
gems.
serious gems. We gonna, we got to take some clips out of this and share this so that, get so people could get their life right.
Get their life together.
Nah, for real, like. But,
All right.
but yeah, but we appreciate y'all, and
Thank you guys.
we appreciate the knowledge. We're taking it in for ourselves, and we hope that our listeners really, because you guys were saying a lot of really important, it's like this, the things I was saying could really implement it in the right way. It could change somebody's life. This life changing stuff y'all talk about. Like, the stuff is powerful. The topic of financial freedom. This is all stuff that we all want to get to. We might not talk about it often. We might not put the right effort in, but we know we all want it. We just gotta do the work. But yeah. So this is the time where you get into your verse of the day.
All right. So the verse of the week is coming from Proverbs 21.
What I say, verse of the day?
Yeah.
I be wild. Go ahead. I always say that wrong.
So the verse of the week is coming from Proverbs 21, verse 5. Proverbs 21, verse 5 says, "The thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness, but of everyone that is hasty only to want."
So let's translate.
Why do you always want to translate?
Because I don't
So,
think people, I don't be getting
The NIV
that King James,
version
that LeBron
says
James version be crazy
The
sometimes.
NIV says, "The plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty." What are your thoughts on that?
Plan, people.
I always say this, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah.
Dang, that's in our presentation.
Literally.
Sign me up for the role. I'll be
Literally.
So that's pretty much how I go about life. And
Plans lead to profit.
And I think it's also
I like that.
the steps in the plan. Kind of like what Kirk was saying earlier. He's like, okay, I'm going to go hard to go home because this is what I put my mind to, blah, blah, blah. But his plan needed to be curtailed a little bit, you know, with Shanti. And like he could have got to that goal, but then he was missing out on the fun that he could have had getting to that goal. So I think that what this is saying is like the plans of the diligent, you just have to make sure that you're diligent in the type of plan that you're having. And if you're just hasty and you're just doing whatever, you will fail. And that's how I feel like. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Couldn't have said it better. Nah, that's lit.
Yeah.
Once you read the NIV version, I was like, that's what that says.
It's always like that.
That was
For
the
me.
word.
I need the translation. Like,
We measure twice, cut once.
There you go.
Right.
boom, boom.
Babe, do you have any thoughts? You all set?
Yeah, I'm with that. I mean, I feel like if you're an adult, if you're in your 30s and you're not really planning, it's like, yo, bro, you're in your 30s. Why are you not planning? I'm just saying, like,
Because they're
like,
not
10
serious.
years to your, like when I'm 40, like I see myself as 40 being pretty comfortable. Like in 50, 10 times more. I'm talking about like paying for my daughter's wedding, just like doing just like, yo, where we going today? Like, but I feel like the steps I could take, like for like 20s was like trial and error. Like 30s,
Yeah.
it's time to put plans in place to build wealth. In 40s, I want to start enjoying it. In 50s, I'm cooling. Like I want to, if I could get that in my 40s, I'd be even better. But like I feel like the steps we take now, as we're beginning this decade, could set us up for success. So yeah, you gotta plan. And if you're not, then you're kind of playing yourself, and you're playing your partner, and then your kids, and then your kids.
Your people don't like hearing that right
They
there.
don't, man. And but it's funny, like, cause even if you don't like hearing that, like, if you guys had an appointment with somebody telling them something that they didn't want to hear, I know when y'all left, they had to sit with that. Like, so it's like, yo, just listen. That's how even if I don't want to hear something, like, and I might shun it, like I've done in the past. The minute it's over, I'm thinking about it all day, and I'm just like, yo, that's just like God telling you, like, man, get on that, man, stop being lazy. That's how I see it. But, eventually we'll all get on track.
So let the church say, amen. All right.
Yeah.
So we'll do the benediction. You guys ready?
Yes.
All right,
All right.
go ahead and say it,
Again,
baby.
thank you so much for coming and enjoying couples night with us. We
Yeah,
learned
yo.
a lot from you. We'll have plenty of talks after this, actually.
Facts.
And we really, really, really valued all the information. And I hope you guys,
Yeah.
tell them how they can find you and how they can connect with you guys and everything,
Oh yeah, all the good stuff.
if you want to.
We're on Instagram. I think that's a very millennial place to be. My handle is Ayana Kingsbridge. Long story there. We won't get to it.
I meant to ask you that too, actually.
Maybe when the mic go off.
Yeah.
That's late.
And mine's is Kirk Normill. Right? I think
Yeah.
that's what it is, right? At Kirk Normill. I don't even remember no more.
Yeah.
I only use the stories. I don't even post, man. I just use the stories. So you got to be active to catch what I'm talking about. And if I'm in a good mood, I might share something
Yeah.
special.
Yeah, it's a story game these days with the IG. Just hit the stories.
That's where the fun is.
Yeah, I mean,
All right,
it's
so
here
we'll-
and it's gone.
We'll bow out.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah, go ahead, get into it.
Father God,
Mm-hmm.
bless Sebastian and Clichelle, Kirk and Shanti. Bless the listeners. May they be at peace, find joy, and always seek you first. Thank you once again for this wonderful opportunity to glorify you. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Peace and love, beautiful black people, and we're signing off.
Have a great week.